Why, welcome to TalentED. We're where we share stories and insights from professionals around Minnesota and the country who are making a difference in their fields. And I'm Dr. Eric Skanson and of School Pro. And today we've got a special guest, Brett Bernard. And with over 20 years of experience and as an educator, Brett Bernard knows how to help others achieve with his dynamic and relevant keynote speeches. Trainings. He's earned his Master of Ed in Educational Leadership and is a published author. And as the captain of the 1994 U.S.A. Unicycle team and world champion, he knows how to succeed and use his experience to help others to achieve success. So I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first interview with a world champion, Brett.
Well, thanks for having me, Eric. This is great. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, thanks for the nice introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. Brett, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. Where are you talking to us from today? And maybe what do you want to discuss and help ed leaders with?
Sure. I'm right now in Maple Grove, Minnesota. I've lived here for the past 25 years. And I've been a teacher. I just finished year 27. And I like to take what I've used and applied in education and bring it out to others and do what we can to help increase achievement around the state and around the country. I can speak as a dad now too. I've got two kids. My son just finished 5th grade, so he'll be off to middle school next year, and my daughter is going to be in 3rd grade. And I just know the value of those grades from what I've seen in my journey in education is kids are taught new things in grades 1, 3, and 5, and they're reinforced in 2, 4, 6. So those are really critical years. So it was fun to be on both sides of the fence and see what I do in my classroom and what my own kids are doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you talked about some keys to success there is learning, knowing what your kids learn, having insight into all of those grades. And talk to us a little bit more. I mean, you have some books. You've spent a lot of time kind of looking at math specifically and math achievement. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, as a student growing up, when I was taught math in the late 70s and early 80s, it was basically, here's how you do it, memorize it.
Uh-huh.
Now we know that kids learn differently, and teachers need to take an approach. And I've observed many teachers and gotten some great feedback, and through my master's I've learned ways that we can reach those kids. And one of the biggest things for me is to reach the student before you teach them, meaning the relationship is huge. Get to know the students and get to know their interests, integrate those into your math lessons. Use the concept of transfer. The concept of transfer is huge for me. You brought up when you introduced me about my unicycling, and I set that goal when I was 11 years old to be the best unicyclist in the world. And I worked. I did everything that I had to do. I had a coach, I had a choreographer, I had people doing my music. And I thought, and with my mom's help, she always said, if you can do well on your unicycle, why can't you do well in math? And I finally had a teacher, and I believe she had the solution to what we need to do to cure math anxiety, because I feared math.
Uh-huh.
She found that, hey, when Brett was in 2nd grade, he loved math and he did well. So she went back and she used methods to teach how I responded well to get me to where I needed to be. So that really inspired me to get these books out, specifically Total Math Engagement, talking about strategies you can use in your math classroom to decrease anxiety, to create conversations and build that vocabulary, and to create discourse in the classroom. I'll end this little segment with this, that my first year of teaching, I was probably the most valuable year of education I've ever had in my life, because I went to school and I was the one doing all of the work. And the kids came to watch me teach. And I believe they still learned things. But after that year, I really thought, hey, the ones who are doing the working are the ones doing the learning.
Uh-huh.
And if we look at Bloom's taxonomy and we look at the research, kids remember 10 to 20% of what they hear, but they remember 90% of what they do. So I wanted to put some programs in place to get kids to experience math and to understand the vocabulary using a whole brain pictorial approach.
Brett, when we spoke previously, you shared some success stories with me that were pretty incredible. Do you want to just give us a quick highlight of some of the transformations that you've seen in school using your products?
Absolutely. I'll start with my students that I've had. I've taught grades 3, 4, and 5 over the last 27 years, going back and forth. I've looped a few times, which was a great experience. I've seen students come in the first day of school and we start doing math, and they're the ones asking to go to the bathroom, doing everything they can to get out of the classroom. And I have just found ways to help them succeed and help them find a special talent, something that they're good at, so they feel good about themselves wanting to be in the classroom. And I think dignifying an incorrect response and making them part of the classroom discourse is huge. And I've had students who I still keep in touch with who are now doctors, who are now lawyers, who are now working as even in trades and being very successful.
Right.
I've worked with schools. One of those schools was a Korean immersion school in St. Paul, and I worked with this school for about 3 months. I went in and did my keynote speech. I came in and did the experiencing math, ABCs of experiencing math, and really talked about setting SMART goals. And not just setting the SMART goal, but I put together the GAINS model, GAINS. And that's what you do after you set your goal, because a lot of times I've learned we expect people to succeed, but we don't teach them how.
Sure.
So I taught them how, the same way that I succeeded with my unicycle. And they had 28% the previous year, 28% of the students in their school met the state standards for math on the MCA test. We worked for that few months. They took and applied everything. We did some follow-up, and we set the SMART goal to get it up to at least 60. Well, we didn't reach it, but they got to 58%.
Wow.
Meeting the state standards in math, and the state average is 66%. So we really did a lot, and they really took what we talked about and they really applied it, and they had fun with it.
That's awesome. That's a great story for success.
It was great to see, and yes, it was awesome.
You've spoke a lot about, not only just in math, but in unicycling, about success. And I understand that this is something that you like to talk about when you're out. Tell us a little bit about your viewpoint on success and maybe some of the work that you've done in that area.
Yeah, when I started doing my math keynote speeches and breakout sessions, and people always gave me some great feedback that it was motivational, inspirational. I thought, why not take this to the next level and bring it to a keynote and just talk about how we can succeed? Because we talk about, like I mentioned earlier, this is a big point to me, is we expect them to succeed, but we don't always teach them how. So I looked back to what I did in unicycling, and I put a model together. And some of the main things with that is believe in yourself and hang out with people who believe in you. Just have that confidence and get everyone working together. Create a climate in that classroom where everyone supports one another and everyone's comfortable. I talk about the little things making the biggest differences in the world. When I was competing on my unicycle at world competitions, I was going against national champions from 17, 18 different countries. And we were all doing the same thing. It's those little things that we did that set us apart from everyone else. So I talk about just the little things we can do in the classrooms, the little things we can do on the field for sports, the little things people can do in the offices to make the biggest difference ever. And the other thing that I did, the main thing, was just practice, practice, practice. You just have to do it. And in ways that kids can identify with and relate to. For example, my son, when he was in 3rd grade, just struggled with learning his multiplication facts. He just was frustrated. He said, I'm stupid, I can't do this. But he loves the NFL. He loves it. He has forgotten more about the NFL at age 11 than I think I'll ever know. And he was working on his threes, in a sheet of multiplication for threes, and he didn't want to do it. I said, Brody, just remember, the threes are like field goals. Let's say a field goal kicker makes 4 field goals, they're 3 points each. How many is that? Oh, that's 12. Well, the
Uh-huh.
sixes are like touchdowns. The sevens plus, or the sevens are like a touchdown and scoring an extra point. So I put together a math curriculum that's online right now. That's all multiplication math, learning it in the correct order. We all think that, hey, when kids multiply, start with the ones, twos, threes, fours, go up to the 11s or 12s. I've learned that if you do the twos, fives, tens, and move on from that to the next categories,
Uh-huh.
it's much more user friendly and much more fun with a lot of graphics and visuals. Um,
Make it relevant.
Very relevant, relevant in real life 21st century skills, but in a real life application form that the kids can identify with.
Wow. Well, I really look forward to uh hearing more at some point about your keynote and success. And we can do that because you're available to come into schools and to work with them on these topics, right?
I am absolutely. I'm available. I am so thankful that we're able to get back into schools now. It was a tough go when we had COVID and doing these through Zoom, and that still is very effective. Um, I learned a great lesson. I'm a huge basketball fan from the late great Flip Saunders, former coach of the Timberwolves, and his big thing with his players. And I've worked with one of the coaches from the Timberwolves. I'm talking about success. Flip's big thing was the human connection,
Hmm.
being together, getting face to face, getting involved, being hands on. And I would love to get around the state of Minnesota and talk with educators, talk with educational leaders, parents, even students about what we can do to close that achievement gap and give kids more opportunities to enjoy math, to understand math, and to use it in real life application.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Available and ready to go. Quick question. Are you going to ride your unicycle if it's close enough?
If it's close enough, that's definitely a possibility. I've got YouTube videos that I try to show. I like to try to dress up a little bit so I can only do a little bit, but I would bring that unicycle. I would also bring juggling. Um, there is research showing that learning how to juggle increases the gray matter in our brains. It also is very effective in helping with math because of the patterns and because of getting kids to focus. And as a matter of fact, I mentioned I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a huge St. Cloud State hockey fan. One of my students that I had in fourth grade now plays for St. Cloud State.
Oh, wow.
And he had a really bad concussion last year, and he was unconscious for 12 minutes. Thankfully, he's okay. He still has some problems with his vision. And he was just over at my house the other day, and his trainers and doctors have him juggling every day to help improve his focus to recover from that concussion that he had.
Wow.
And that's just one example of the little things, again, making the biggest differences in the world. I never would have thought that teaching this boy how to juggle would be this beneficial to his wellness.
Uh-huh. A little bit of spoiler alert. I juggle a little bit. I've
I've heard
done
that. That's
I've
word on the street.
word on the street is that I can juggle a little bit. I may have some evidence out there that I can do fire, knives, it's
Well,
I'm
maybe
a little
you and
bit
I,
rusty.
maybe you and I can present together sometime, and we'll
Oh,
we'll stick someone in the middle, and we can juggle around them. How's that? Some torches.
I might have peaked when I was about 16 or 17 with my skills, but I think I could still do it.
All right, it's like riding a bike. You never
But
forget, right?
but what's funny about that? I grew up on a farm, and you know how I learned to juggle fire was I was home by myself, and I went to the shop. I cut wooden dowels, wrapped
Okay.
the ends in cloth, put gas on the cloth. I mean, obviously there was a progression there, right? Getting up to
Right,
that.
right,
But
right.
the first time I juggled fire, it was with some unweighted, non-typical wooden cloth wrapped dolls. Like I was in a mob, right? Like this is what
Right.
you'd go down the street in a
With a torch
mob.
above your head,
Yep,
yes.
yep. It was that I pulled out for my first but I got to a point of success, right? I thought, I think I can do this, and this is going to be a good story, but I'm not telling
Absolutely.
anybody first. I'm
Absolutely, and
just
that's
going to do it.
exactly, and that's exactly, Eric. That's exactly what I talk about. It's the concept of transfer again. If you can do that, and you mentioned we talked about my unicycling a little bit, and I relate that to math. I relate that to success. I relate to everything that I do. Is People learn to ride a unicycle because they want to prove to themselves they can do it.
Uh-huh.
They think it's impossible, just like you with your juggling. And then you tried it and it became possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became fun.
Mm-hmm.
From impossible to fun. And that's what we want to do with math, go from impossible to fun. That's what we want to do with how to succeed in academics, athletics, in life.
Right.
And, I just want to do a little promo here, just hot off the press. I've been working on a new keynote.
Okay.
And being inclusive is really important to me. I mean, we are talking about that in schools and in society and everything. And I put together five goals for how to help schools be inclusive so everyone feels accepted and everyone feels comfortable and everyone wants to learn. And just a couple of those is learning about interdependence and explaining what that is, and seeing things from multiple perspectives. And there's a few more. The last one I'll talk about is being what temprocentric is not judging the present in terms of the past. So it's just a great way to move forward and to include all. And again, with everything I do, I know we've got a few things on the plate here: math, success, and being inclusive. But it's all coming down to closing that achievement gap and making so all students learn 21st century skills and can be a productive part of our society.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. That's my dream. So I would love to get around the state of Minnesota and get into your classrooms and your schools.
Yeah, let's get them out. Let's get them out there, folks. Right. I'm going to switch gears. Okay. No pun intended here. No. I have a quick lightning round for you.
Okay.
If you're game. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And no surprise, if I'm talking to the world champion of unicycling, this is going to be about unicycling.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I want you to give me your first thoughts. First thoughts that come to mind. This is either or lightning round.
Okay.
Would you rather unicycle on a tightrope or unicycle through a maze of flaming hoops?
Unicycle through a maze of flaming hoops.
Oh, this one's going to be maybe easy. Juggling with unicycling or doing backflips on a unicycle?
Juggling with unicycling.
Is it even possible to do a backflip on a unicycle?
Every time I did a performance at a school or a business or something, everyone said, do a flip. I don't see, I mean, I can do a lot on that thing, but the flip, I don't know. I can jump in the air and do a 180 twist and land.
Yeah. If you know what, I'm going to believe if the world champion says that he's never done a backflip on a unicycle, that maybe that's the next keynote. I don't know.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll start working on it today, but let's get things done. I don't want to hurt myself yet. I want to get out there and get that achievement gap closed and get kids enjoying school. And
unicycle through a parade or unicycle on a talent show?
Talent show.
Race a cheetah on a unicycle or challenge a penguin to a unicycle dance-off?
Race a penguin or race a cheetah.
Race a cheetah.
Penguin, yeah.
High wire riding or riding a unicycle on a roller coaster? I don't even know if that's possible.
I'll just say this. I have a fear of heights. I used to ride a 10-foot tall unicycle. It didn't faze me a bit. But now I go even to a Vikings game at U.S. Bank Stadium in the third level, and I'm a nervous wreck. I tried skydiving when I turned 50, and I thought that would cure me. It didn't.
Oh man, I bet that was
Yes, I would say tightrope because there's probably a net underneath.
Probably a net. Okay.
That would give me some relief of the anxiety I have.
We're going to divert from the actual skill level here and now the presentation. Would you rather unicycle in a clown costume or a superhero costume?
Superhero.
Blindfolded backwards or eating pizza backwards on the unicycle?
Eating pizza backwards.
Okay.
I've probably done that before.
Last one. What's going to be easier? Unicycling through rush hour traffic or unicycling through a completely packed shopping mall?
Rush hour traffic.
Interesting.
I'll just weave around the cars. I'll probably get faster than the cars.
There you have it. From the world champion of unicycling, we have some more information about unicycling. All right. Well, Brett, I really want to thank you for coming on today and
Thank
talking
you
with
so much
us.
for having me. It's been great. Great to
I'm
see
really
you.
excited to see your impact in schools throughout Minnesota, and who knows, maybe even beyond. I mean, let's be honest. This is a great
Absolutely.
message, and we want to get you out there. So,
Absolutely.
um,
And, you know, people can feel free to check out my website and all my contact information on there. And of course, get a hold of you would be the best bet. And
yeah.
we can coordinate and do whatever we can to get into those schools and help those kids succeed.
One last call to action, Brett, as we go forward. What do you have a call for action for our folks listening today?
My call for action for the folks listening today. Remember what I said is the kids should leave school more tired than you. If you're their teacher, they should be the ones doing the work. You should be the one hopefully facilitating that. And you know what? Get to know your students. I go to so many schools. I spoke at a conference in Vegas a couple summers ago, and I do sharing every day. It maybe takes 5 to 8 minutes at the most. And it is a way for me to get to know my students and what they're doing so I can bring that into the classroom.
Uh-huh.
And it helps them feel more comfortable sharing, which is going to increase the discourse in math or whatever other subject you have. So get to know those students, have fun, smile, and show them that that you care about them.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say kids have been lucky to have you as their teacher.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
Well, here we go. So thank you for tuning into this episode of TalentED. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a review. And if you have any suggestions for future topics or guests, please contact us. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and stay PKS, which is positive, kind, and supportive. Goodbye,
Awesome.
everybody.
See you later. Thank you, everyone.